Hey guys, this is Abhishek from Wheels and Chips, and today we have an amazing lens from Tamron for review. It is the 18-270mm super flexible ultra zoom lens by Tamron for Canon. The lens is powered by a Piezo Drive Motor as well as vibration compensation, which in layman's terms is image stabilization. This is the 55-250mm lens from Canon. And in the center, we have the Tamron 18-270mm lens. And on the far right, we have the 18-55mm kit lens. And as you can see, the comparison between the kit lens and the Tamron lens. The Tamron 18-270 is almost as small as the kit lens. And it can still manage a zoom range that's above the Canon's 250mm lens. So I would say that's pretty decent actually. In fact, that's stunning that Tamron was able to achieve so much. This is exactly how the three lenses look when they're maxed out, and undoubtedly, the Piezo Drive Motor equipped 270mm Tamron lens looks the longest, or the lengthiest I would say, because it has the 270mm additional zoom range. As you can see the difference in the kit and the 250mm and the 270mm. Well, it is a spectacular lens indeed. The focusing mechanism on this baby is actually pretty similar to a stepped up motor because see, when you press this onto manual focusing, there's no direct connection between the focus ring and the actual motor. So it's not physical at all, it's just like stepped up motor. It's all electronics. So yeah, there's actually no use in rotating the focus ring as long as the lens is not plugged into the body, and rotating it makes absolutely no difference to the lens whatsoever if it's not plugged in. So that's kind of a disadvantage to some, while it might be an advantage to the others because it provides you with a faster focusing speed. As you can see over here, the f value is from 3.5 to 6.3. I mean 3.5 is okay when you compare it with the kit lens, but then again, the 6.3 value that you obtain when you zoomed out is not that great, and it's pretty dark actually. I would say including this locking mechanism over here is a genius move, because once you lock the lens down, it does not move from 18. You can't really rotate the lens after it's locked in. So when you're traveling, it makes sure that your lens does not drop off or zoom in accidentally. So that's a genius move, I'd say. The vibration compensation is so far doing a great job, and so is the autofocus. In bright lighting conditions, the autofocusing is pretty decent and is not as noisy as I would have expected. The Piezo Drive Motor does its job fairly well. And as you can see, the zoom is incredible. It's a 15x, a very grand zoom, I would say. So let me quickly show you some sample images I shot with this beautiful piece of lens. And I'll be voicing it over with the pros, cons, distortion and vignetting levels of the lens, along with the specifications, other details and my experience with the lens. I hope you enjoy the images and tolerate my jibber jabber. The actual specifications of the lens state that it has 13 grooves and 18 elements, although these actual specifications do not matter to the end user. But then again, it might be handy to some. So yeah, there you have it. That's the actual specification of the lens. And the Piezo Drive Motor is actually pretty decent for the price. And for the cost of 28,000 rupees, I would state that this lens is amazing as a walk-around lens, or even a lens that you'd like to carry for vacations or casual shootings. The convenience of the lens is amazing. You don't have to keep on changing lenses like as with Canon. You don't have to shift from 55 to 250 ones and then again for 18 to 55 for wide angle shots. This lens does it all, and the sharpness is pretty decent, as you can see from the samples yourself. For an aperture range of 3.5 to 6.3, it's performing admirably well, although the far end of the zoom range is a tiny bit softer compared to the wide angles. But the wide angles do tend to have a considerable amount of distortion, but that shouldn't be an issue as long as you have the Photoshop to correct it. And the distortion is not that huge, it's actually pretty much manageable, and you don't have to correct it as long as you don't see a huge amount of vignetting or the subject being extremely distorted. One thing to keep in mind is that the vignetting does occur, But if you're like me, I actually prefer vignetting, and it gives a kind of a very beautiful touch to the image with the corners being darker. But that's just me, and personal preferences obviously vary. And your cup of tea might not be vignetting, so I don't really find that as a negative, except for the barrel distortion and the soft image at the higher telephoto, and I don't think this lens has pretty much any other flaws. Of course, the focusing ring does not have a huge range, and yes, the autofocusing is not super fast, but for the price point, it's pretty decent, and as a walk-around lens, this gets our vote. And I'd also like to thank Vivek Infocom and Tamron Lenses for being super generous and handing us these lenses for review. And I'll leave the contact information in the description down below, so please do make sure you check them out. Thank you guys, have a good one, happy clicking. Until next time, this is bye from Abhishek.